Hey folks, it's Matt once again. I want to come at you with another review, this time of a Blu-ray that I finally got around to checking out the features. And that is for my favorite Wes Craven film, a severely underrated movie. What's the best way to put this? I feel the power running through my bones. I am the sword, you are the stone. I swear forever we can stand alone. I am the sword, you are the stone. Or Shaka, Shaka. I did a 50-minute review of this film as to why I love this film so much, as to why I feel this film is underrated. If no one checked it out, I'll remember to put the review down below. But before I get into the Blu-ray from Stream Factory, why do I love this film so much? Because, first off, I think it's a severely underrated film. It only gets a 5.4, which is a fucking crying shame. Mitch Pileggi, who many remember from the X-Files, as do I. I mean, X-Files is my favorite TV show. The new one coming out, we'll see, because I thought the last movie sucked, but we'll see. But it's cool that Mitch Pileggi is going to be back on there as Skinner. But I thought he was a hoot and a lot of fun as his killer. Great lines of dialogue, and that's the way it is. Finger looking good after biting a guy's fingers off. Um, Peter Bird, I think, did a good job as the lead. I thought he gave an underrated performance. Thought the rest of the cast, you had Ted Raimi, you had Michael Murphy, Richard Brooks is I believe his name, and I thought they all worked well. The soundtrack kicks a lot of ass. You have Megadeth, Dudes of Wrath, which entailed like people from Kiss, and Alice Cooper was involved, and it's just a great soundtrack. A very fitting score by William Goldstein. The first half of the film has some intense moments with Horace Pinter. I think he's a great villain. I like the love story between Peter Bird and Tammy Cooper. I thought it was ballsy that they killed the girl so early, because usually in these kind of films it's the woman who's the lead or the woman who survives. So I thought that was pretty ballsy. And also this film has a sense of humor that I don't know if people don't get or people just throw away, because people will go, oh, it's unintentionally funny. And I'm like, it's supposed to be funny. I mean, you have a fucking little girl getting possessed, cussing like a storm, and trying to kick the shit out of Peter Bird, or driving a construction vehicle. You have a Barcalounger come alive to get Peter Bird, and then when Horace Pinter comes out, it's like, this Barcalounger is going to kick your ass. You have I know people complain about the ending, but the ending, I thought, it's ridiculous, but it's fun. It's meant to be fun. You have the going through channel after channel, and Soldier does, who the hell's that guy? Or Leave It to Beaver, and Peter Bird's like, hey, Beav, Beav! Or get freaked out by the Frankenstein monster, or I believe the news anchor is John Tesh, and Peter just did the payment. That's the way it is. Great villain, capable hero. Love that knockout punch he gives to Horace Pinter. Just insanely fun. Well directed, but hey, I already did a 50-minute review telling why I love the film so much, but I want to just give some quick thoughts on it. Again, I'll put the review down below. I feel it's an underrated movie. And it's sad that Wes Craven is no longer with us. I already miss him. But getting to the Blu-ray itself, it has a slipcover, which I remember at one point Stream Factory said they were not doing these anymore, the covers. And I mean the slipcover. I remember them saying that one time, but I guess only if it's a collector's edition they do it. Which is cool, this got a collector's edition. And this artwork has grown on me. I remember when I first saw this artwork, I wasn't really too impressed because I thought the angle was kind of awkward of him coming out of the TV. I just thought it was an awkward angle, and I guess I would have appreciated more of the Halloween 2, Halloween 3, The Fog, like that kind of cover where it showed all different images or scenes from the movie. Like, it would have been nice to see, you know, stuff of Peter Bird or the kid, little girl, the Barker Lounger, like other images, Cammy Cooper. I didn't kind of like the Halloween 2 or Halloween 3 or even a bit of They Live. But this has grown on me, I will admit. This has grown on me as a cover. It has grown on me. And I picked this up. I actually, one of the last movies I was able to get for free on this deal with this website where they wanted me to put videos on their site. And the deal's pretty much done. I only have like 2 more left, which I was able to pre-order Army of Darkness from Stream Factory and Mosquito Blu-ray from Synapse, I believe. So this was one of the ones I was able to get for free, and I love this film to death. Of course, the classic cover. And for those wondering what the inside looks like, and this does flip, so you get this cover on one side, and then this on the other. Now, picture quality wise, I thought the film looked fantastic. It's the best I mean, I'm not a really aficionado on doing reviews on the picture quality. I just looked at, I mean, there are other review websites that do that much better than me. But I thought this looked great. I thought it looked wonderful on Blu-ray. I thought it was, again, the best looking I saw the film. You want to see that done shitty, watch Moontrap. Or don't, because that's a horrendous. And that's the thing, like, if that was an 80s film as well, but this looks, again, it looked great. So, you know, if you're looking for picture quality, I don't see how you would be disappointed in this, but, you know, to each their own if you are, but the sound, it sounded fine to me, and the picture looked great to me. Features, it has the commentary from Wes Craven from the DVD Overseas, which I don't know when that came out. It might have been 2008, 2009, I'm not sure when. And I've talked before, I like that. I had the DVD from overseas, someone actually sent that to me, and I'll still keep that for, you know, because it was a gift. But yeah, I always thought it was a good commentary. Listening to it again, maybe it's because Wes Craven's no longer with us, but he gave some good information. Right from the beginning, he mentions one of the influences was The Hidden, and he says the original thing, which I was a bit confused by, because the original thing is the thing from another world, and that had nothing to do with this. But maybe he meant John Carpenter's The Thing, so maybe around the time there was talks of another remake of The Thing. Maybe maybe when he says the original Thing, he's talking about John Carpenter's film, but he didn't say John Carpenter's name, so I was a little bit unsure on that. But he does mention The Hidden, which I thought was an interesting thought. But yeah, maybe because I missed the guy, but it was nice to listen to him again. Overall, I can say I liked the Blu-ray. I do like it. For what it is, I like it. I mean, it's sad. There's nothing with Peter Bird, and I remember complaining about that on the Facebook side, and I guess if I looked more into it, he's actually directing one of those big expensive movies now, so that's why. And then Wes Craven, I'm like, oh, how come there's nothing new from Wes Craven, like a new interview? But I'm guessing because he was sick, brain cancer, he probably wouldn't have been able to do anything, so that's sad. And for those wondering, no, you don't have any of the music videos. But what's here, I mean, again, it's nice that they carried over the commentary from overseas. They do carry over the featurettes, and they put it into one. It was a vintage featurette, vintage making of. Again, there's like two, one was like 3 minute, one was like 5 minute long. So they combined together, so when you look on this, it's like 8 minutes long. It's just both of them, they just put it together in one. So it was nice that they carried those over. Which again, is weird. They could carry some stuff over from a UK DVD, but then other stuff they can't. It's just stupid rights issues. But thankfully they carried it over that. You have another audio commentary, which I did not know Michael Felsher actually is pretty much him taking place 3 interviews back to back to back. So like the first 45 minutes is an interview with the DP, Jock Hayton. Then the next 35 minutes is an interview with the producer, Robert Engelman. And the last 20 some minutes is an interview with William Goldstein. It was alright. The interview with the DP, and I mean, honestly, Toss with DP, director of photography, is not the most interesting to me. I mean, just talking about lighting and such. But it was nice to hear at least a few of his thoughts about how they shot, for example, the sequence where Tammy Cooper and Peter Berg are in the lake, which was actually a swimming pool, and it was actually shot, I believe, day for night, so that was interesting. And some stuff like shooting the electric chair sequence, shooting the ending sequence. They mentioned that, so... And what's nice about this is everyone seems proud of the film, and no one's talking down or bashing the film, unlike, you know, a certain other fucking Blu-Ray. Again, that's like the only fucking Blu-ray that happened to. And of course, it's a favorite movie of mine. That fucking one. But thankfully that didn't happen with this. I'm glad for that. I understand it's their opinion, but again, that's one of the only fucking Blu-rays. Even Howard the Duck didn't get trashed as much on its DVD than that fucking film did. And it just pisses me off still to this day. But again, I'm just can't help it. I gotta mention it anytime I mention it. But anyway. But it's nice that they seem at least pretty decently, like especially the DP and the producer, they seem proud of the film. So that was nice. So I mean, the interview with the DP, it's all right. The 30-some minute interview with the director, and I say interview, but it's just audio only as you're watching the film, with the producer, Robert Engelman, it's the best of the 3 on the commentary, because he actually gives a little bit of info on The Serpent and the Rainbow, because he worked on Wes Craven before, on that film before this. There's some nice stories about Serpent and the Rainbow, mainly about Haiti, about how crazy it was over there, about how Wes Craven wanted to shoot this place that has these certain windows and such, and the producer pretty much ultimately said, no, you can't. And Wes is like, why? And he goes, well, that's a place where they had infectious sort of disease ward. And then Wes Craven stopped and said, you know what, maybe that isn't a great place. Maybe let's go find another one. And even he, I mean, Michael Felsher, he seems like a fan of the movie as well, which is pretty cool to have a moderator who's a fan of the film. And he mentions that they talk about how when the film came out, it seemed like people didn't really get the idea that this was, you know, the sense of humor. People didn't really either get it or appreciate it, and that it wasn't trying to be a Nightmare on Elm Street in that. It was still trying to be its own thing with that sense of humor. And even the producer says, well, that's, you know, Wes Craven does have a sense of humor as well. So, again, people, it's one of those things that people seem to disregard, or I don't know why. I mean, I would think it's plainly obvious, but what do I know? I think that's what makes this a fun movie. The last 20-some with the composer, to be honest, not interesting at all to me. With William Goldstein, just, I can't remember really a single thing from it. That's how interesting it was. He didn't down the film. He's proud of the score that he did for the flick, but it really wasn't that interesting. Found it rather boring. And this also has 2 radio spots, has a trailer and 2 TV spots. And then you get the interviews, which are pretty good. Mitch Pileggi, you get about a 17-minute interview where he tells about how he had fun with the movie. It was just a fun flick to do, that he just let off his leash and go nuts. How originally he read for the coach character, but then he went back and got the part of this. About how throughout the film, Wes sort of found out he was actually more of an actor than he originally thought. So Mitch Pileggi mentions how Wes Craven actually wrote that speech in the electric chair for Mitch, which makes a bit of sense because when you see the trailer, you see that when the guard asks, he just says, "No more Mr. Nice Guy." But here in the actual movie, when the guard asks, "You have anything else to say?" he goes into that speech. So maybe at one point they shot with that, but it's like, hey, let me give you this speech as well, see how you go with it. Or maybe it was maybe that's total bullshit. No, I mean I agree. No, I agree. I believe that he said that Wes wrote it for him, but maybe they did shoot both, and for some reason they cut the "No More Mr. Nice Guy" from the trailer out. I don't know, but that was cool that Wes wrote a speech for Mitch in the electric chair. I always thought that was a really great speech. I always enjoyed that sequence where he lets on that he's the father of Peter Berg, his character. It gives a story about the limp, and he has some good words for working with Peter Berg and the premiere. Talks about how there's potential of a franchise, but it just didn't come about. And he mentions about, there's been talk of a remake, and he goes, if there is, just make sure I'm in some capacity. That it was a very important film in his career. He also mentions about how he was very physical in this film, and it took a toll on his body. He actually has arthritis, which is sad to hear. That's why he, even if there was, he could never play Horace Pinker again, because he even says if he tried, he'd probably kill him. It would probably kill him. So that's too bad he's suffering arthritis. That's too bad, but that it's taking a toll on his body. And this is one thing that I find very fucking annoying nowadays on features, is you have to wait through the end credits, and then, like, not only is it movies now, we gotta wait till the end credits to see if there's an extra scene. Now it's fucking special features. You gotta wait to the end credits, and then there's a little bit of footage, and they do that twice on this one, at least. But what's nice is that he actually turns to the camera and he actually says, "No more Mr. Nice Guy," and then he laughs. And I thought that was cool that he actually did that and said it on camera, and he still has it. He still has that intensity. He still has that. He can still do that kind of role. Just, I mean, physically he can't, but acting-wise. So it was nice. If you watch through the end credits, at the end he does that. So that was cool. Then you have another about 17-minute interview with Cami Cooper. She tells about getting to the business, working with effects, worked with Peter Berg, and she's actually a fan of Peter Berg's directing. Like, she's seen Lone Survivor multiple times. And about her working in the sequence in the lake, how it was a swimming pool, and she was on a dolly track. And about how this was a good role for her, but after this, her choices were very limited. And sort of the breaking point that she was offered a role in a Tom Berenger movie, where she played a character who once sex, was killed, came back to life to seduce Tom Berenger, and then her body would be found in a septic tank. And then she's like, okay, I don't want to do this kind of stuff. This is what I'm being offered. And then she left Hollywood, and she's actually works with the state, I guess, involving when the rape of children. She's one of those people that goes in to save them and to help kids, to do a service to help kids who have gone through that trauma. So that's pretty cool that she actually went to a very noble cause. But I always thought she did fine in the film. I never had that much problem with Cami Cooper. You get an 11-minute interview with Shep Gordon, which is alright. I mean, it doesn't really talk much about Chakra itself because it's only about 11 minutes. Mainly talks about how a producer's job is getting the movie done, how Alive Films, the company, was originally a music company, and that they made some dramas that weren't making money, but horror was big, so they used that. And he's like, okay, the two biggest guys are John Carver, Wes Craven, and let them. Pretty much, this was a place where he could let those guys do whatever they want without interference from the studio. And he's like, I don't want to look at the scripts, just make sure you put your name above the title, which is why this is called Wes Craven's Shocker, or John Carpenter's. I mean, John Carpenter did that before, but you didn't find that a lot with Wes Craven films. Like, it's not called Wes Craven's Scream, or I don't even remember it being called Wes Craven's A New Nightmare on Elm Street on the title. But here, if you look closely, Wes Craven's Shocker, or Wes Craven's The People Under the Stairs. He did those two with Wes Craven, then did They Live, Prince of Darkness, They Live, and Village of the Damned. But doesn't really talk specifically about the movies, just how he will let those guys go. And pretty much all he mentions about this is about how Universal was that a lawyer he knew became, I think, became the president of Universal, and then introduced him to Carol Cole, who did the Overseas. So that's why there's like one of the trailers to Shocker on YouTube is Carol Cole, is because they handled the Overseas when this was released. And then I guess he tells a story of why he doesn't like studios that much, and why he wanted to have Alive Films and not fuck with people. Of a film he was part of called Endangered Species with Robert Urich back in the 80s, about how they were forced to put Urich in, and Urich was a cool guy, but they were forced to put him in, and how they were filming the scene where he was somewhere in a swamp or wherever, and of course his hair is messy, there's water, and that the studio shut it down because they saw the dailies and his hair is messy. It needs to be neatly parted and combed. He's a star. It can't look messy. You gotta reshoot that. And it's that kind of stuff that made the guy hate studios. And now I guess he's retired. He doesn't want to work with any studios anymore. But so, would like to hear him a little bit more about Shocker. But nice to hear a little bit about Alive Films. Fun featurette on the music, about 26 minutes. Yet the music supervisor Desmond Child, and the soundtrack artist Bruce Kulick, who was with Kiss, Jason McMaster, who was with Dangerous Toys, Kane Roberts, who was with Alice Cooper, Dave Ellefson, who was with Megadeth, and they pretty much go over each song. About how the guy from Megadeth tells about how he got involved, and there was this woman named Penelope Spheeris, who actually directed Wayne's World, and I guess she actually shot the video for No More Mr. Nice Guy, which is interesting info. They talk about how Sword in the Stone, how it was a Kiss demo, and they were able to bring it back and have another band, Bonfire, cover it. They talk a bit about the lead song. Mitch Pileggi actually talks for a teeny bit about actually doing a bit of the rap with Alice Cooper, and how it was a trip to do so. The song Timeless Love, I believe Desmond Child wanted that because that was the only song he could submit for an Oscar. So he actually submitted the Timeless Love song for an Oscar, and of course it didn't go anywhere. But that was interesting to hear. So I thought that was really cool. Listen about how each song got into it. Of course, the title song, they talk about Shocker. They talk about Dudes of Wrath and who was all involved. Like Tommy Lee was actually involved in that band that was just formed for this. And pretty interesting info. So overall, in a perfect world, I would love to have heard Peter Bird's thoughts on this. Two, I would have loved, of course, Wes Craven, new thoughts on this, like an on-camera interview. Or a new commentary with a Michael Felsher to ask him questions in depth, because the commentary from back in the day, he was just by himself. He didn't have a moderator. It would be nice to have a moderator because I like the commentary, but the best commentaries I've heard Wes Craven is like for Swamp Thing and Daily Blessing, which he had a moderator, and that was the guy who did that Horace Hello Ground, Sean Clark. So him or Michael Felsher to do that would have been very cool, but again, Wes Craven was sick. I would assume. If not, and they had a chance and they blew it, then I'd be really pissed off if I ever find that out. But if it's because he was sick, that's totally understandable. And Peter Bird, he's busy doing big movies. Music videos, probably because of the rights, I guess. Even though you hear, oh, that's another cool thing about this is when the menu pops up, it's Bonfire's Sword and Stone music, which I think that's like my favorite song on the soundtrack. I can't stop listening to that song, Sword and Stone from Bonfire. It's become literally one of my favorite songs of all time. I cannot stop listening to it. So the fact it's on the menu is absolutely cool. And then you do the still gallery and a storyboard gallery. Oh yeah, I said one is sad that Wes Craven's nothing new. Peter Bird, nothing new. And the third, Adam Green and Joe Lynch are big fans of this movie, and I think they actually did a fan commentary on a podcast they did called Movie Crypt. They have this podcast. And Adam Green, Joe Lynch, which Joe Lynch, I enjoy films he's done like Wrong Turn 2 and Everly, and Adam Green, I'm not a fan of Hatchet, but I do like Frozen and Digging Up the Marrow. So, and they did a great job on the fan commentary Friday the 13th Part 4. Street Factory, I think you guys missed the ball. You should have gotten those two guys to do a new fan commentary for this. Doesn't have to be the one on their podcast. They would, I guarantee if you asked them, they would have come in to do a new fan commentary. I mean, they did one for free, and then they did a nice Wes Craven retrospective. Should have done one for, maybe they didn't know, but man, should have gotten them to do this. It was a missed opportunity. Yeah, it would have been nice to see a fan commentary from those two. Because again, they did it for Friday the 13th Part 4. They would have been nice to see this, but that's just my opinion. But either way, overall, other than those little things that I would like to have seen, but fate, again, Peter Burst directed a big film, Wes Craven, I'm guessing because he was deathly ill, which is a shame. I just realized they spelled Ted Raimi's name wrong. Raimi, they spelled it R-A-M-I. Now, maybe I'm an idiot, but I thought Raimi was R-A-I-M-I. Like, shouldn't be an extra I in there? Raimi? Sam Raimi? Ted Raimi? I mean, I'm going to feel like an idiot, but they spelled it R-A-M-I. I swear that's not how you spell Raimi. I'm going to laugh if I'm wrong. No, I'm right. Ted Raimi, it's R-A-I-M-E. I mean, R-A-I-M-I. And they spell it R-A-M-I. So they spelled Ted Raimi's last name wrong. They forgot another I. Should be R-A-I, not R-A and then M. So they spelled Ted Raimi's name wrong. I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't look right. So, whoops. I don't know if you can even see that. But, no, you can't. It's blurry. But yeah, they spelled Ted Raimi's last name wrong. Wow. Okay, then. Alright. Anyway. But other than, unfortunately, nothing new with Wes Craven and Peter Bird. No music videos, but there's no, I can't think of a Stream Factory that ever had music videos, to be honest. Not that I can think of. I mean, even Ghoulies 2, I don't think they had the music video on that one. Could be wrong. Easily could be wrong, but not that I remember. But, I mean, overall, I liked it. I mean, the commentary with the 3 interviews was a bit better than I expected. The composer was, to me, a useless, but The producer and the director of photography, nice. It was all right to listen to. It's nice that Michael Felsher, they're fans, and Michael Felsher is a good moderator. I definitely will give him that. And it's nice to see that he's a fan of the film. Nice to see interviews with Mitch Pileggi, Tammy Cooper. They talked very nice on the film, and Wes Craven. That was very cool. Shep Gordon, it was cool. A little 10-minute thing. The stuff with the music, I thought was very cool. Nice to see the TV spots and the trailer and the radio spots. The stuff from overseas, like I said, the Wes Craven commentary and the vintage, the making of from back in the day was nice. So overall, I liked it. I would definitely give this a thumbs up, like Gene Siskel did. If you watch Siskel and me, Gene Siskel gave this film a thumbs up, and boggled my mind. But anyway, other than that, and spelling Ted Raimi's last name wrong, good looking picture quality. I thought it looked fantastic, and Jesus Christ, it's 30 minutes long. Where does the time go? I didn't. Fuck. I'm doing a Blu-ray review and it went 30 minutes. Jesus. Anyway, thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you on the next one. I am the sword. You are the stone.